Hello, visitors of the internet, and welcome to this video where today I will be attempting to build a factory sleeper of sorts, such like the Lexus GS450H, GS430, or Audi A6's 5 Series with the bigger engines. What are the other ones? Mercedes E-classes as well. Just basically a vehicle with a big engine and plenty of power, but doesn't really say it's sporty in any kind of way. So we're going to want a saloon or an estate, possibly, as my hands have finally done the correct thing and gone on the correct filters. You could get a 1 series as well. That's a smaller example, perhaps. I know there was that. And it was basically a 1M, but with slightly less power in the engine. And it looks just like a regular 1 series coupe. This is an odd looking thing. We're going to want it to look fairly executive, I think. And I would say quite large, as more sleeper vehicles tend to be. They do not have nice windows at all. Plus they're ancient. We want something relatively recent, but why is it only showing the older ones? That's what I want to know. Maybe we just don't have many modern saloons and estates in this game. I guess, by virtue of lack of cars available then, I'm restricted to one of these. Maybe these, but they're still getting on a bit now in 2020. So I think I'll go with a larger one, 3.1 meters. Maybe it's a bit too big though. I don't know. What's going on here? It's turned the wheel into the non-existent wheel, yes, but it's turned it into a spinning blade of death. It hasn't done it on that side, just that side. Nothing going on at the rear either. That's very strange. Anyway, we'll want probably an aluminium body, and we could go with semi-space frame. If semi-space frame turns out to be really expensive or something, then I can change that at a later date. But for now, it's doing a decent enough job of things. Transverse. Oh, should we? I guess we could make it all-wheel drive. That would always work. It's unusual, but I don't see why it couldn't work. We could cheap out on front suspension, like the Germans always seem to do on these really expensive cars. Not something I particularly like, though. I'm going to cheap out on the rear of anything, because the front takes a lot of stress around corners. The spinning blade of death has gone. Well, that's convenient. This is a very aluminium vehicle. I think solid axle leaf. I did say cheap out. I didn't quite think of it as being that kind of extreme. Solid axle coil we could probably get away with, but still it's a bit on the extreme end. Torsion beam would only work if we were making it front wheel drive, and I have no intention of the kind of power we're going to push to keep this front wheel drive. We could go with double wishbone on the back instead of multi-link. A few Japanese cars have used this actually, so that's something, and I think I'll run with that, yes. These wheels, ridiculously small for something that's meant to be a sporty vehicle, but it doesn't matter. Well, not sporty, but fast vehicle. Yeah, 7 seconds. So we're beginning to get some pace. Not enough, mind. I want more. Why on earth? It is front wheel drive. Can probably improve the acceleration by making it not front wheel drive. I don't know. Probably messing with the platform has caused that. It looks like it's impacted on the top speed. Probably by putting the weight up. It is now over 2 tons of vehicle. We have a lot of weight. But my 4-cylinder plan is not failing me. It's doing exactly how I expected it to do. There we are. 129. I don't know. Yeah, we don't need it to be like maxed out, which is fine. As I say, big brakes, they are okay. The smaller wheels on top of those big brakes hide the fact. Because if you look at it from a distance, that does not look even remotely sporty. So what have we got? I'm going to tune it for comfort, actually. Ridiculous as that might sound. I'm not going to have any sport packages. Because that's how you get one of these cars in a sleeper configuration. You don't put the fancy M Sport package and whatever. To be honest, a lot of cars with those things on them become anti-sleepers just because they promise a lot more than they can deliver. Yeah, the brakes aren't perfect, but I'm pretty sure I can work with this size and get it working. Yep, they like that. Since it's a premium, I'll go and add a bit more. +3 seems to make them quite happy. We obviously don't want too much quality because it will just add cost and make things unnecessarily costly. But this works. I bet it's going to be heavier too. No, it's not actually. Maybe that makes the interior lighter. That might have been what it does. So how about variable? Hydraulic, no. As I saw, that's the one to go for. Wait a minute. So they don't want crazy safety. I guess it would add weight. I wouldn't do that ideally, but it seems that they like standard safety more than they like advanced safety. It's even 2010s, it's even an older era of safety, but it's obviously safe enough for the people who are buying this car. Probably because it makes it quicker. Yeah, Family Sport probably doesn't desperately desire something that maxes out the safety rating. 25 miles per gallon is perfectly reasonable, actually. For what this vehicle is, I said comfort suspension, but looks like they're not a big fan of that. So, here is the BCC Whale, as I have decided to call my bizarre all-wheel drive MPV thingy. I'll get onto it later, or what the specifics are, but here you'll see the body and chassis. We've got, surprisingly enough, just a fairly regular combination. Nothing really fancy. Looking at the markets, they didn't really gain anything from using fancy materials, probably because they weren't stiff enough for this type of body. You'll see it's similar to a van in that respect. Got very good suspension though, and a transverse engine, but it is all-wheel drive. Now here's where things get interesting. It's got a V8. Yes, it's transverse, but it is a transverse 4-litre V8. It fits in reasonably well. Yeah, Cadillac did this, even though their engines tended to explode. This engine is hopefully not going to explode. It's essentially two 2-litre 4-cylinders, kind of slammed together in the front of a car. It wouldn't fit a longitudinal V8 or V6, so this seemed like a good option of getting a lot of cylinders and a lot of displacement to go fast. It's also, I believe, twin-turboed, if I've got this correct. Yes, it is twin-turboed. I've not forgot that. I could have just looked at it, but no, I didn't. Anyway, you'll see here, I have done, I think, quite a good job here. I've got that black upper part of the car, and then we've got all the chrome lower down. Around these wheels, this was so painful to do. I shouldn't have bothered, but I did. The BCC Whale has to be perfect. I was hoping that if I made this a chromed out MPV, no one would really know, and I did play around with the rear engine configuration, hence why there's air intakes here. They need removing. I just didn't get to do such before recording this. Thankfully the other part is just there, so I can just drop that back in, like so, and we should be done. Oh, looks like it's not long enough. I made a glaring oversight there. Disappointing. Yeah, I thought the quality of this was supposed to be quite good. I've plus 3'd on the quality in places. Unfortunately, human error is still a thing. We have dual exhaust. I believe proper dual exhaust from a V8. It's called the SL8. Sport luxury. That's supposed to mean. And these badges don't tend to work on BeamNG. I did at one early point put cat ears on it, like some kind of rudimentary cat ears, but then automation got angry and it kind of deleted all of my cars I had made up until that point. So what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to export and then see if we can add them again. We've got a 7-speed advanced auto, which gives us 30 miles per gallon. That is very important. Downside of that, I've had to go with 205 tyres, hard tyres even, to get that. It's probably not going to grip, but hey, we've got 30 miles per gallon and 500 horsepower. Can't really complain about that. It's a 6-seater with a premium interior as well. Weighs 2.3 tonnes, this is not a light vehicle. And we don't have launch control. Maybe we could, no. The markets just don't like launch control. Well, this one doesn't. Family Utility Premium, which is where it sits. And it doesn't like that. I mean, the safety is only standards as well. It is still a utility vehicle. I'm still looking at these things. I did do a lot of adjustment before recording this, believe me. But it's best to just double check. Seems like active sway bars can help. Always just getting these little bits of things done here and there, especially in a car this heavy and with a higher centre of gravity, though. An active set of sway bars would help. I don't want the front springs to be too soft if I can help it, because I can have softer dampers, but there's a lot of weight on the front, and it was kind of crashing into the front splitter again when I tested an earlier version of this car, just to play around with it, because it was taking so long to build and I wanted to so desperately just give it a go. Yeah, with the active sway bars, it's changed the configuration just a bit, but things are still working out. 166.5. As I say, it is multi-link on the rear. It's completely different suspension on the back to what's on the front, if we just look under here. Yeah. I think double wishbone is technically the better track suspension, but this is also a road car, so we're going to have to kind of put that into contention. I'd lowered it quite a bit, but I didn't want to lower it any more than that because it would just become obvious it's a track car by that stage. 56% frontal weight, again, that's not too bad for such a big heavy MPV. I put these kind of plastic strips here to represent where the sliding door would roll across. It's all I really could do. We have a fuel filler on both sides just because. And as I say, I've had vents, but it never looked right. Plus, I've always had these grills here at the front, and they've been conducive to it being a good idea having the engine in the front. Speaking of which, yeah, it's going to be a complete nightmare working on it, that's for sure. But there's our engine. And we're going to export this. As I say, it does need cat ears, so I'm going to try adding them when it's exported. So we have to find our fixtures and such to find something that can be cat ears. These weren't what I used before, but could they work? No, they're not quite what I'm looking for. It does also ask you before you change the body style if you really want to do that, which was one of my criticisms of it before, so it's good to see that they've improved. Oh, yes. Where's the learner thing? Yeah, make this like my dad's car when I'm attempting to park it. And I apparently can't put a learner badge on. Yeah. Only his car doesn't have 500 horsepower, it has some diesel engine. Which is half as big as this. Give or take. But you know what? It'll be fun to just go and compete with it like a learner version. I don't remember downloading this even. I'm sure I must have at one point, but even so, you know, it's not going to be quite straight. But that's fine. Anything that would have been applied by hand, you know, there's some margin for error. As long as I guess it's readable by cameras or other drivers or anything like that, it's fine. We have a big boot thing there, I guess. I did really like what I did here as well with the chrome strip kind of going into the door handle. I found that really neat. Yeah, I'm not a biggest fan of these fancy door handles, but it's a modern car from 2020 and it has to kind of look like it. I think as far as 2020 cars go, I've made something good looking though. The Eco plate there, I think I put that on as a joke originally, but it is actually quite economical. Now things have finally transpired as they have. There's got to be a... I also added some badges here. Again, I think Beam messes them up, but I can't be bothered changing them now. Let's see about these. Ooh, they would make nice cat ears if I could resize them appropriately. Then maybe rotate them. Yes. Look at that. So if I could paint them blue. And then mirror. Look at that. It's got blue cat ears. I'm not sure they work, but they are cat ears and they happen to be blue. It's the Weebmobile. No, that already exists in BeamNG. I'm not kidding even. There was actually the Abishu Kashira and they made the Weeb version. Weeboo version of the Kashira. It's pretty funny. So, here is a car. I'm not sure about those cat ears. But just the coloration of them. Maybe if I made them like that. I think that's the colour I had before. Nah. Alternatively, yes, I could go that way. You know what? I'm going to run with that. It kind of looks right. So I'm going to go... I would say make a learner driver edition. All-wheel drive. There we go, learner driver edition. So we'll go and export this. This is the one we'll test drive since I've got some cat ears working. I did always want cat ears, I'll say that now, but it's just until I'd got this properly exported, I wasn't sure about it. So here we have our vehicle. Unfortunately, the learner plates haven't loaded in, so no one's going to know why I'm driving so poorly. Anyway, do our indicators all work and everything? Apparently not. No, very strange. Anyway, we can still get going if I actually find where I stored my remote control. Okay, time for another try of this. I was driving it with the ESC on, and I didn't work out initially that I could manually shift it. So, you know, it was all over the place because of that. It wasn't really fair on me or the car. Just having to try and drive it like that, so I'm not going to. Oh. I hope I don't lose the cat ears. Yeah, cat ears are still on. Yay. We have still got cat ears. Still feels like it drives quite well as well. Oh dear, come on. I was steering there. It took ages to respond. It did eventually do it just before it collided with something, but that was not a reassuring feeling. I've not had to roll it back onto its wheels yet, mind. Yeah, it's clear to see that this is not the nicest thing to drive. I would say with ESC it was a bit nicer, but it was obviously slowed down by the fact. Because it's not really the sport variant. It's, well, who knows how quick the sport variant is going to be, but even with 500 horsepower, this is still just the regular street version with a load of power and bigger brakes. Come on, there's my mirrors. Accelerating out of here. Slow it just for the crest of that hill. That time I couldn't save it. I couldn't slow in time. I mean, there's only so much you can do with such narrow tyres in terms of braking. The first lap was slow, slower than even before, with the ESC and stuff on. I mean, that was an odd way to take it around there, and I feel like it's veering to the left now as if I've damaged something, but still we're going. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll be competing with the Audi R8 or even the GMC Cyclone, to be honest, which had a significantly less amount of gears. Who knows, maybe it could turn around my opinion in these next few laps and actually pull something from it. But I don't imagine that being the case. Floor it here, but brake just before this crest even. Learning my lesson from braking too late, actually. Oh, really wasn't getting turned there. It is definitely a rail. The name is appropriate, I can say that now. Going a bit gentle on it round here until I know I can put the power down. Again, slow it down. Ooh. Yeah, it feels like front left wheel may have even got off the car because it is not right in that corner. Third gear, yeah, I'm not using past third gear really, I just don't have the abilities, but then I didn't want to put bigger wheels on because I knew I might sacrifice my miles per gallon. Oh dearie me, dearie me. Somehow I made it through there, and at quite some pace actually as well. Things could be a lot worse. Here it feels like a lap that's just good, but good by coincidence, not good by the fact that I'm necessarily pushing the vehicle, good by the fact that things are just lining up as you would want them to. I can hear a lot of bumping and scraping though, and that is definitely not good. Oh no, it's that corner. Whoa, what happened there? It's like it saw the finish line and then said, no thanks, I don't feel like it. I think if I just find the right point, I can probably roll it over. There we go. That's probably not the best way to. It's still, oh dear, that front right wheel is a disaster case now. But it still is going. I'll give it credit where it's due. I mean, it's a fairly durable thing. Come on. Oh, come on, just find your way on the outside, that's fine. As long as you don't destroy yourself completely and give me enough abilities to make it to the end. In here we go, through that dirt, yes. Maybe this wheel is helping as much as it shouldn't. It's not helping around this corner though, that's for sure. There we go. floor it along here. I got a good run into that corner. There we go. Third lap was a 55. That was actually not too bad. No, it's not the quickest. No, it's not supercar fast. But it really isn't bad. And here we have the result. Well, I don't know the finer time because I didn't pay enough attention, but honestly, it's hanging out at the bottom of the leaderboard. There will be worse cars though, believe me. It's just that TAIF, even though it didn't have much power at all, it was light and agile in a way that this, well, it was a whale. It's never gonna be that good. So, still, it just didn't do that well because of that. Although I reckon the miles per gallon difference is also quite small. It would be funny to see like a miles per gallon showdown between the two. Anyway, we've got basically MPV is where an MPV should be. Although in a straight line it would be quick. I'll say that much. In a straight line, it would probably come like just below the Audi R8. It is a quick vehicle there. It's just unfortunately it doesn't know what a corner is. Still, with all that being said and done, I'm going to leave it here for today and say goodbye until another day.